Chapter 20. Home. Circe and the Odd Sisters were sitting at their table in the kitchen in front of the large round window. Outside they had a view of Maleficent's crows perched peacefully in the apple tree. Sitting on the table was a magnificent birthday cake, and Mrs. Tittlebottom was puttering around in the kitchen, making tea. "Where are we?" Circe asked, confused. Mrs. Tittlebottom laughed. "I don't know, dear. I thought you would tell me." "We're in the place between," said Lucinda. Circe hadn't thought it would look like this, the place between. "It looks any way we wish, daughter," said Ruby, putting a saucer of milk on the floor for Florence. "Florence!" Circe was happy to see her until she realized what it meant. "Oh, Florence, are you okay?" The cat didn't answer. "She can't speak with you, darling. She is too weak. She is barely holding on. But we will do what we can to keep her here, won't we? We won't let her pass beyond the veil. Not for us. Just as we won't let you go into the mists with our ancestors." Circe suddenly felt as if she were young again, sitting with women she thought were her sisters in the kitchen on a bright sunny morning. She was so happy she had made the right choice. She was happy to see her mothers this way, as they were meant to be. "We, too, are happy to be ourselves again," said Lucinda, "but we wish it didn't take your death to achieve it." Mrs. Tittlebottom brought the witches a pot of tea and some cups. "Here you go, dears," she said, putting down the tray. Circe looked up at her. "Oh, Mrs. T, what are you going to do? Move forward beyond the veil or back to your old life?" Mrs. Tittlebottom laughed. "I've lived far too long already, but the ancestors have one more task for old Mrs. Tittlebottom before she goes. I'm to look after the flowers should you and your mothers decide to use them. I've only just stopped by from my own corner of the place between for a spot of tea before I make my way back home. And to ask you a favor," Circe smiled. "Of course. What's the favor?" But Lucinda answered for the old woman. "She would like us to make our choice quickly. She is ready to go beyond the veil." Lucinda smiled at Mrs. Tittlebottom. "I'm sorry our ancestors have interfered with your passing."
Can I have a sticker?
"Yeah."
What?
That.
"Yeah."
Can I have a cookie, Daddy?
Mrs. Tittlebottom patted Lucinda on the shoulder. "Oh, you're not the same witch I remember." "Not at all. I like this version of you much better." Lucinda laughed. "I like myself better too." "But what choice are we talking about? I've already made my choice. And why are you here, mothers? Why aren't you in the Deadwoods?" "Good. Why aren't you living the lives I gave you with the sacrifice of my own?" Lucinda took Circe's hand. "Because, my Circe, we are in the place between, and we have been given a choice, and all we have to do is listen to hear it." The end. And that is the end of The Odd Sisters, A Tale of the Three Witches. Thank you so much for joining me on this long journey and for learning a little bit more about these very odd witches, I should say. Join me next time on our next reading.
Yep.
Join me on our next reading as we read another villain who seems to be misguided in her own way. Ooh. Yeah, it's her in her own way. And let's just say she looks absolutely marvelous, darling. Absolutely. Oh. I hope you're able to guess what our next villain will be. Join me next time as we read our another villain series written by Serena Valentino.
Are you done?
Almost. You want to say hi? No? Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys have a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. Bye, guys. See you in the new year. See you real soon.